Hey YouTube, it's Icy, and welcome to the 80th episode of Best Tech Info and Rumors. And to start off, I just wanted to say that I did reach 150,000 subscribers today, and I just wanted to say thank you guys so much. Now, since the last episode of Best Tech Info and Rumors, I've made 3 different videos. The first one was a review video for the brand new Apple TV with full 1080p support. The next video was a 4G LTE speed test for the new iPad, and the most recent video is a complete and in-depth review for the new 3rd generation iPad. So if you guys want to see those, I'll have links to them down below in the more info. Now, first up, I just wanted to talk about 2 different stories that are kind of interesting that pertain to the new iPad. The first one is actually related to the temperature that the iPad runs at. Now, this iPad does run significantly warmer than its predecessor, so than the iPad 2. And once major news outlets got a hold of this story, they started referring to it as Heatgate. For those of you that don't know, Apple has had different hardware-related issues with their products in the past, and the biggest one would have to be Antenna-Gate with the iPhone 4, which was where the service would drop out when the iPhone was held in a certain way. Now, this time some people are referring to it as Heatgate. However, it's not really that big of an issue, and it's definitely not worth returning the new iPad or not even buying it in the first place. Now, apparently tweakers.net did a test where they took a new 3rd generation iPad and an iPad 2 and they ran the same benchmark test on both iPads, and basically the point of this test was to max out their capabilities so they'd reach their peak core temperatures. And what was discovered was that the new iPad reached 92.5 degrees Fahrenheit, whereas the iPad 2 reached 82.9 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's almost a total difference of 10 degrees Fahrenheit. And I've got to say, while using my own 3rd generation iPad, even while doing things such as playing graphic intensive games, I haven't really noticed too much of a difference. It does get slightly warmer than my iPad 2, however, it does not get to a point of discomfort. Also, the other day, DisplayMate discovered that the new iPad continues to charge even after the on-screen indicator suggests that it's fully charged by displaying 100%. And the new iPad will actually charge up to an entire hour after it reads 100%. Now, there have been different theories as to why this happens, the first of which seems kind of out there in my opinion, but some people are suggesting that the new iPad does this on purpose. They claim that it's a scheme by Apple to give the new iPad the illusion of a quicker charge time, because as most of you know, the new iPad actually has a bigger battery than its predecessor, and it does take multiple hours to get a full charge. And other people are just suggesting that due to the nature of the new battery that's used in the iPad, it's harder to gauge an appropriate reading. Now, along with that, it was also discovered that Safari on the new iPad automatically scales down images to a lower resolution. So while browsing the web, you're definitely not getting the optimum experience for the Retina display if you have the new iPad. Now, it makes sense for it to do this while it's over a data connection, so you actually conserve your data. However, it also does this when the new iPad is over Wi-Fi. And the popular belief is that it was set in place to actually maintain snappy load times on older iDevices. However, it's widely assumed that Apple should correct this issue over Wi-Fi with the new iPad in the next minor iOS release. Moving on, a new survey suggests that 76% of all new iPhones purchased were actually bought at a retail location, and only 24% were actually purchased online. Now, this is likely to change in the coming years as we start to move away from the brick and mortar store and go more towards the digital trend. But with that said, 62% of all iPhones purchased at a retail location were either purchased at AT&T or Verizon, with 32% AT&T and 30% Verizon. Now, that is absolutely incredible, but that's not really the key point of this story. Approximately 15% of iPhones purchased were actually purchased at an Apple retail location, and right behind Apple is Best Buy with a total of 13% of the iPhones sold. And that's close to double the amount of iPhones that Sprint sells. Also, for all of you Angry Birds fanatics, the next installment to Angry Birds Space, was released yesterday on the 22nd, and if you guys aren't familiar with the new Angry Birds, then you can check out the trailer that's on the post that'll have down below in the more info. And finally, let's talk about the new next generation iPhone rumor. So according to iMore sources, the next iPhone is set to be released in fall of this year, 2012, so presumably sometime between September and October. They also suggested that it will have 4G LTE capabilities, which does not seem too far out there at all, especially since the new iPad now has 4G 4G capabilities. But what is surprising is that they said the next iPhone will stray away from the standard 30-pin connector that it's used since the first iPhone was released back in 2007, which does seem unlikely, but their reasoning is that they will shrink it to conserve space on the new iPhone. And finally, they did suggest that it will retain the same 3.5-inch screen as its predecessors, or at least that it will have a screen that's close to 3.5 inches. And in that post, the picture I used actually previews Best Tech Info's new theme that should be up within a couple of days. And if you guys want more details on that or anything else I talked about in today's episode, just be sure to check out the links down below in the more info, and just be sure to rate this video up if you liked it, hit that subscribe button to be notified every time I release a new video. And if you guys want to be updated more often, don't forget to like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, and add me to one of your circles inside of Google+. And until next time, this is ICU signing out.